Welcome back to the 5th countdown to retirement video. I can't believe it's the 5th one already. Number 41 is really going to be amazing. That's June. That will be June 2019 if I've done my math right. Hope I've got it right this time. And so 36 more videos to go, and at that time in June 2019 my wife and I retire from work, and I'm looking forward to it, obviously. Well, for some people, they don't want to retire, but I do. So, moving on. First order of business is, last video I had said that I was going to do a book review video for Sean Carroll's The Big Picture, a new book that came out recently. I did make the video, spoke for about an hour about the book, and then something happened with the video. I don't remember, but there was an issue, and I didn't upload it. Not that anybody was really waiting for this. But the video didn't work out, and I never did another one. I just, after doing so much with the first one, and I just didn't have it in me to do it again. So, sorry. It was a very good book. Some people on Amazon clearly don't get it, or just have different opinions and want to believe in their religion, whatever, or just have a different idea of, even if they don't believe in religion, they just don't like Sean Carroll's outlook. Sean Carroll, I think, has a great outlook. It kind of makes sense to me, for the most part. What he says, things that just make sense to me. I understand it, and so I recommend the book. But again, it won't be for everybody. Next order of business. So this is to review basically a video journal for me every month. What books I read, what movies I watched. Maybe one day my grandkids or great grandkids or great great grandkids will look at these videos and say, "Hey, that's what he did that month." Just help me pass the time, count down the time till retirement. So in past videos, I sometimes would speak about the videos, not like in-depth reviews by any means, but I'm really not even going to do that. I'm just going to basically just show what movies I watch. I might say a few words if I really liked it a lot, but as far as like in-depth reviews, maybe someday I'll watch these again and do that, but this is just more like a journal for me. So I'm going to go over what I watch. I did watch a bunch of movies this month. And if it was really good, I'll say something about it, like it was really good. Of course, all of this is just personal opinion. So, first movie that I watched, Glenn Ford and Debbie Reynolds, called The Gazebo. This movie surprised the hell out of me. It was awesome. I loved it. I want to watch it again, but I have other movies I need to watch in the meantime, and I don't want to kill it, so to speak. So I want to give it some time to rest, then watch it again and really enjoy it. Great movie. I was really surprised by it. Kind of Alfred Hitchcock in a way, but it wasn't Alfred Hitchcock. Comedic, really good. I really enjoyed it. So that's one down. Okay, next one. This is a movie I saw when I was a kid with my mom. I remember watching this. I watched it with my son recently. The Jerk with Steve Martin. My wife was out one night, and my son and I decided we'd have some father-son time. We watched the movie, The Jerk. Funny movie. Could never make this movie today. Racism and racist jokes, and it just wouldn't work today. But it was funny. I liked it. Goofy, not like a serious movie, obviously, but it was fun. Murder My Sweet. I recall. Actually, I should say I don't recall much. I've just done a lot this month, but I remember liking it a lot. So I am looking forward to watching it again. Let's see here. This is Philip Marlowe, Chandler, based on a Chandler book. Okay, yeah, this was a good movie. I remember it more now. Good movie. Dick Powell, Clara Trevor, and Shirley. Murder My Sweet. Watch it. Good movie. Let's see. Next one, Dear Heart. Glenn Ford and Geraldine Page. This was a pretty good movie too. I have fond memories of this one. I like Glenn Ford. It was good. Kind of like a part romantic movie. It was good. Thumbs up. Okay, next one. Bringing a Baby with Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant. Generally funny movie. Cary Grant's always good, at least from what I've seen. Good movie. Recommend that. Next movie. Paul Newman is Hopper. This movie was, I really like this. It's actually, is based on a book, and in the book, I know that Newman changed the name a little bit from Harper. It was Archer in the book, the guy's name, Lou Archer, but he changed it here to Lou Harper because he had done, like HUD and some other stuff with H's in it, and he liked the H. So, The Hustler, so he wanted to change it. I recall reading that somewhere. This was a very good movie. I liked it. Strother Martin was in it, who's been in a few movies with him. I enjoyed it. Want to watch it again. The Philadelphia Story with Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn and James Stewart. Good movie. What can I say? It was a good movie. Again, I'm not going to go into in-depth reviews on anything. I would be here hours with all the stuff that I've watched and read. Although I didn't do too much reading this month. I actually did a lot, but I'll get to that after. It's just that I didn't get through books, but I have been doing a lot of reading. So, Philadelphia Story, good movie. 1 second. Okay, The Young Philadelphians, Paul Newman again. Very good movie. Good, very good. These are great reviews, aren't they? But this was a very good movie. He plays a lawyer in here. And I'd say it was an excellent movie. Is that better than very good? Okay. The 7-Year Itch. Marilyn Monroe and Tom Ewell. I thought this was funny. I liked it. I asked my wife about it. She was like, she didn't really want to watch it, but I guess she's seen it in the past. I thought it was good. I guess it's more a man's movie. We're sick people. Okay, North by Northwest with Cary Grant. I'll say excellent movie. Really very good. Memorable, really very good. Want to watch this one again. That was an Alfred Hitchcock movie, by the way. From Here to Eternity. I didn't know anything about this movie. It's got Burt Lancaster in it. Frank Sinatra plays a minor role in the movie. Some of the big names are in here. Montgomery Clift, Deborah Kerr. And why can't I think of the other person? Oh, man. I'm drawing a blank, but there was some other actor in here that I really like. And I'm looking right at his picture here on the back. I can't think of his name. Well, anyway, I didn't know anything about this movie when I watched it. Just knew it was like World War II. But it was really very good, and certainly something I'd want to watch again. Surprised me. I had just seen it like on Amazon. Came up as a, people who saw this movie watched this movie kind of thing, and so I said, well, okay, I'll try it. Had good reviews, and it was good. Okay, this is a 4-man movie set, DVD set with Thin Man movies. I have already seen the Thin Man before I started making these videos, I think, and last year I watched it. So this time around, I watched out of the other 3 movies. I actually made a mistake and went off sequence by accident. I guess I was tired one night. So I watched Shadow of the Thin Man and so I watched After the Thin Man and Shadow of the Thin Man. I skipped another Thin Man in Error, which I will watch probably in the coming month. These movies were very good. The Thin Man, the first one, I thought it was okay. I think it was great. I have to go back and watch it again. The After the Thin Man and Shadow of the Thin Man were better. As I enjoyed those more. So I have to go back and watch the first one again. Maybe I'll like it more in retrospect. But the two I just watched a few weeks ago were very good. Okay. The Bachelor and the Bobby Sox, kind of a silly name. Shirley Temple is in it, but the reason why I watched it was Cary Grant and Myrna Loy are in it, and Cary Grant was great as usual. This was a fun movie, teen bop kind of thing with Cary Grant. So another good one. I really didn't watch anything that I didn't like, which is good. This one here, The Petrified Forest, was a strange movie, old movie. Leslie Howard, Betty Davis, and this is before Humphrey Bogart was a big star. And another guy in here, Charlie Grapewin, was a good character actor. So this, and actually he was pretty old when he did this, and he was I think he was born just after the Civil War, or like 1860s maybe, and that's kind of amazing. I'm pretty sure I looked it up. Why am I having so much trouble with memory? But I think that was what it was. Charlie Grapewin, and he was an older man here. So, but it's kind of amazing how here he was born in a time when there was no such thing as movies, and in his older age he's playing in a movie. So it's pretty good. For those who don't know, Leslie Howard had a interesting life and a weird death, being shot down in a plane by Germans during World War II. Good movie. Errol Flynn, Dodge City. This was probably my least favorite movie that I watched this month. I have a few more to go over, but it was good. It just didn't kill me. It was a big deal made about it at the time that it came out. Again, I would just say it was good. I wouldn't say it was like very good. It wasn't excellent. It was just a good movie, mostly by the numbers, kind of Western, in my opinion. Errol Flynn has a lot of charm and charisma and flair. They could have called him Errol Flair instead of Errol Flynn. But, and Olivia de Havilland is in here. And of course, the two of them did Robin Hood together, the most famous movie, I suppose. And also They Die with Their Boots On, which is also a movie I don't really like, because being familiar with the real history of Custer and then watching that movie, I could see if you were a kid and that got you into the whole topic. But I watched that movie after I already had knowledge of the events, and so it just pales in comparison and pure Hollywood. This movie also is pure Hollywood, but if you like Errol Flynn, he's always fun to watch. So it was good, just wasn't great. Now, I don't have, these are some other movies that I watched, but I don't have the cases here with me. I watched West Side Story, which I had seen, many, many, many years ago, but I watched it again. My wife had the DVD, and has the DVD, not had it, and yeah, it's a great movie. It's just kind of weird watching it. These guys supposed to be tough gang members, and they're dancing and singing in the streets. So it's kind of weird, but I guess when it was made, that was a big deal. Picture of Dorian Gray. That was a very good movie. That movie had a weird feel to it, a weird vibe. I want to watch that one again. That was very good. Picture of Dorian Gray. And then I watched When Harry Met Sally. I have never seen that movie. I'm like the last person alive, I guess. I hasn't seen that movie. That was also a very good movie. I liked it. So I guess you wait until something just seems right, and it just seemed right. So I watched it, and there you go. So those are the movies that I watched. Now, books that I read. So I did read a book this month that I reviewed, and I completely forgot what book that was that I finished. So I will look that up in a second. But first I'll show you what I'm reading right now. I'm reading Robert Louis Taylor, The Travels with Jamie McFeeters, and this book it's a pretty good book. It's very long. It's like almost 450 pages. Um, and I bought this book at the now defunct Bookworm in Poughkeepsie, for real cheap. It was 95 cents here, so I paid probably about 75 cents for it. 50 cents plus a quarter. That book, the store is gone. Sad, sad, sad. But this book's pretty good. It's kind of a Mark Twainish, like Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer kind of book, but it's a kid on the Oregon Trail. It's actually not, if you don't like Mark Twain, this is not really written in that way, but it's just kind of reminiscent of it. It's more of a modern writer. And the only thing about it is, for some reason, despite all the research that went into writing the book, like he'll have Indians attacking a wagon train, but they're Crow Indians. And of course, the Crows were friendly to the whites. I'm not aware that they ever attacked a wagon train. It was just kind of a weird choice to pick them as the Indians. If you look past some of those details like that, it's an entertaining book. I'm well over half over with it, so I like it. I should be done with that book maybe, hopefully in like 2 weeks or so. The other book I'm reading, I'm not going to say the name of it, but you can see it here. It's a book about the Sioux War. It is a good book. There's a few little errors in it. Nothing to do with the main story. The main story is, as far as I could tell, very accurate. I just feel slighted by the author slightly, for a couple of reasons, which I'm not going to get into here, and that's why I'm not saying the name of the book out loud. So it's kind of a personal thing with me. But there's the book. It's a very good book, so I can't say not to get it. There's a few minor, two errors that I would say for sure, and one difference of opinion about something. But just on a personal level, there are two issues about the book that kind of I feel personal about, related to me, and I can only get into trouble for doing this, so I'm going to stop there. But the guy who wrote the book is very nice. He's a very nice guy. I just feel slighted slightly for two different reasons, which I will probably forget in the coming months what exactly was bothering me. At least like being able to say it specifically. I should probably write it down, but I'm not, because I just hope it passes and that's it. So, what book did I read? I'm going to pause this and get right back to you. And we're back. So actually, two books. I don't think I mentioned this one last month because I finished it early in June. Edgar Allan Poe, The Strange Man Standing Deep in the Shadows. And that book was written by, give me 1 second here, Charlotte Montague. And this book has a lot of pictures and interesting text, like kind of sidebars, and I thought it was very good. I learned a lot about Edgar Allan Poe, and I really enjoyed the book. I bought it at Barnes & Noble, like on the sale table. They were getting rid of a few of them, and I like Edgar Allan Poe stories, a lot of them that I've read, so I thought I'd get that and look like easy reading, which it was. But it was entertaining and just a lot of neat information. So that was one. And then the other book that I read was, I just had it right here. I don't have it in front of me, but it's called Montana Gothic by Dirk Van Sickle. Like Van Dyke, but it's Van Sickle. And his first name is Dirk, D-I-R-C-K. Montana Gothic. And that book was really good. I gave that book 5 stars. Montana Gothic, it's kind of if you like Edgar Allan Poe, you might like it. I wouldn't say it was scary. It's just kind of like disgusting in some parts. just maybe it was shocking when it came out. It's not really shocking to read now, but things happen to people, like sex with a corpse kind of stuff. Not explained, it's just told after the fact that that's what happened. So you're not actually reading it take place. But just things like that, or a man having to cut off his own leg. But I don't want to give away any more. So it's just kind of like these like grisly type of things. It was entertaining, and I thought it was a good book. Not something I'd read again. I don't think I've just so much to read, but I'm glad I read it and I did enjoy it. Now, on to what books I purchased. My family would go to a lot of bookstores. Books that I purchased earlier in the month, I've already put away and wasn't even thinking about the end of the month video. So I'm not even sure anymore what those books were, but I'm always buying books. But I do have here, what looks like to my eye, like 20 or more books that I bought in the last couple of weeks, which I did keep out for the video. So I'm going to go over those. Yesterday we went to a couple of bookstores upstate New York, had a really good time. I'm going to go over that first, and then I'll go over some ones I bought earlier. So, and everything here was inexpensive, pretty inexpensive. Frederick Remington, this is kind of like a catalog of his work. Just was like it was $1. The Way Some People Die by Ross MacDonald. Mystery book. Detective. That was also probably about $1. And let's see here. The Old West Quiz and Fact Book by Rod Gregg. Now this book I had when I was a kid in softcover. I had gotten rid of it at some time when I was moving and gotten rid of a lot of books. So I found this very cheap. I think it was like $1 or $2, and it's like in brand new condition. Me not being religious, I was looking at the introduction by him, and he's like quoting the Bible, which I thought was kind of weird. So he sounds like a nut, but it's Old West Quiz and Fact Book, so it'll be fun to look at and see what I know. Song Before Sunrise by John Reed Lauritzen. I have another book by him, a vintage paperback, and this was, the dust jacket was a little bit beat up, but I put it in this nice broad art sleeve, and it got good reviews online, so I took a chance, and hopefully it'll be good. And one moment, please. And we're back. So now this I was really surprised to find. This is Raymond Chandler, The Smell of Fair, which is basically 14, I think it was 14 short stories of his. It's like a very nice, it's almost a mint condition book. This goes with I've seen this with the dust jacket, with a regular hardcover, going for a lot of money on the internet. This one, it was $3.50, and it's like just excellent condition, clean and everything, and really nice. And it's got some art in it. It's a little bit illustrated, not too many, but a few of them. So I was really surprised to find this, even though I had the stories elsewhere. This, just a cool little thing to have. Awesome. Okay, Dashiell Hammett. This is the Maltese Falcon. If it ever had a dust jacket, I don't know, but it was in pretty good shape, hardcover. So I got that. Now this one here, I have a book that he did about the Geronimo campaign in the 1880s. Odie B. Falk, and this is Crimson Desert. And this was an ex-library book, and so it already had the cover on it, but I'm going to take it off and put on a fresh one when I have to order some more jackets, broad art jackets. So it has pictures in it, and it might be a little bit outdated, I'm not really sure, but he seemed like a good author, and I think he might be from England, not positive. So figure, very cheap, I'm going to get it, and it was in great shape for a library discard. Lakota Society, hardcover, James R. Walker. I was surprised to see this. There were like 3 or 4 books about Indians in this library that I went to. Not a bookstore related to a library, where people either donate books or they sell books from the library. And this one is not a discard. This is like came from someone's house. It looks like. I think it was like a couple of bucks. So that was a really good find with dust jacket, and it's in great shape. I mean, just a little ding here and there, but for the price, wow, can't complain. Okay, this was another one I found at the library bookstore. Sioux Indian Religion. Again, it's not a discard. It looks like can't even tell. Not even sure it was red. Sioux Indian Religion by Damali, edited by Raymond J. Damali and Douglas R. Parks. My only issue with it is that when you look through the index, you do see a lot of mentions of Christianity, and I don't know. I guess they're covering maybe also modern day Sioux Indian religion, but it is a shame that the Sioux Indian religion does not exist the way it used to before Christianity got its hands on it and ruined it. I am really anti-Abrahamic religions and religion in general. What Native Americans did, their religion, even though I don't believe it to have been true, I understand where it was coming from, and it feels more earthy, and I don't really mind it so much. I would even take part like in a sweat lodge ceremony and take it seriously. Man, you put me like in a church or a synagogue or something with people worshiping this Abrahamic God, I'm just gonna inside laugh. I can't even be there. I can't take part. But I can understand Native Americans. Again, I just feel it's more natural and earthy, and I understand where it's coming from. Where the others is just very manufactured, and it's just terrible. But so this was cheap also, in great shape. So I picked that up. And then this is Volume 2. I actually have Volume 1 and 2 already, and I was hoping to find Volume 1 with this. This was also at the library. So this is Volume 2, Edgar Rice Burroughs, The Man Who Created Tarzan, written by Irwin Porges. I think that's how you say it, Porges, Porges. So I was hoping to find Volume 1 also. I didn't see it anywhere. So either some dummy came in and only bought Volume 1 and not Volume 2. Why would you do that? Or they didn't get Volume 1, or it wasn't put out on the shelf yet, and I did look. So doesn't hurt to have another one. You don't see this every day. So I think it was $1. Excellent. Okay, so now some more books. So these are books that I picked up on other book trips during the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. The Westward Movement in the United States by Ray Allen Billington. It's kind of an overview of Westward Movement. There's like, a short chapter on mountain men and a short chapter on, I guess, mining, different topics as the country advanced westward. It's a little bit beat up. Can't really tell from looking at it there, but certainly for, I think I paid like 50 cents or $1 for it, so what the hell. Maybe there's some good information in there. Elmore Leonard, Gun Sights, paperback. This was also cheap, so I picked it up. It was in great shape. I don't really have anything about Elmore Leonard. He was a famous writer. He wrote 3:10 to Yuma, which movie I watched not too long ago. Probably reviewed that in the last, or mentioned it in the last video that I did. So Elmore Leonard, Gun Sights. This was a really good find. The Humor of the American Cowboy by Stan Hoig and illustrated by Nick Eggenhofer, a famous Western illustrator. And Stan Hoig's a famous Western historian, written about Sand Creek and a lot of the Southern Plains Indian Wars, Southern Cheyennes. So, and this is in great shape. I mean, I don't even know if it's been read. The Humor of the American Cowboy. It's a shame. If I want to read it, I'm probably going to have to find another copy because I don't want to mess it up at all. I mean, I'm very careful when I read, but just if I can keep the spine perfect, it's just nice to have. So that was cool. Stephen Crane. There's basically short stories. The main one they're pushing here is The Bride Comes to Yellow Sky, which I may have read that as part of another. When I read The Red Badge of Courage, there were some short stories that followed it. 4 of them, I think, and this might have been one of them, but I just can't remember now. Remember there was one about a boat, guys in a boat. Maybe this was one of them, but I thought his stories were good, and so this has a handful of short stories by Crane, so I figured I'd pick that up. This book, Apache by Will Levington Comfort, novel, and I already have this book, but this is a great old vintage. I have this exact one, but when you see this and it's cheap and you can get it, this old vintage book, get it. That's what I think. So I picked it up. It's cool art. Story of Mangus, Colorado. And this book I also have, but it's hard to turn down when you find it in excellent shape. The Horse Soldiers. I got John Wayne on the cover, and it's written by Harold Sinclair. And I have another book by Harold Sinclair that is a follow-up to this one, which takes place in the Indian Wars in the 1860s against the Sioux. And I think that it's a follow-up with some of the same characters. I have this vague memory of that. I haven't read the book yet, nor have I read this one. But I do want to read the 2 of them and kind of follow the story. So this was in excellent shape. I love those old vintage books. Okay, The Guns of Navarone I have already. I haven't read it. But this has a different cover. It's an old vintage copy. And so I picked that up. I actually have seen another copy that was old vintage one with a different cover, but I held back. I don't know how I did that, but I did. If it was an Indian Wars book or something with Native Americans, I probably couldn't have, but in this case I did. Okay, now here, let's see, I've been collecting, and I don't know why I haven't read any of them yet. I just haven't had time, but I do want to read them. Earl Stanley Gardner, when he was writing under the pen name A.A. Fair. So I picked up Past the Gravy, old vintage. I have a handful of them now by him, so I hope they're good because, like I said, I have a bunch of them. Beware the Curves, and I may have this with a different cover or the same cover. I have to look. And The Count of Nine, I bought 2 of them. Different covers, both excellent condition. So I like those old covers. And here's a guilty pleasure. Love this. Farscape. House of Cards by Keith R.A. DeCandido. Now I'm not a big fan of the Star Trek books. I mean the Farscape books. The show was great. The books generally got bad reviews, although this one probably got the best of the few that were written. And I already have this, but it was in excellent shape, and I wasn't going to let it go, so I picked that up. Because those are hard to come by, and I don't really want to order it on the internet, so if I see it in a store and it's in great shape, I'll get it. Now, this book I picked up, I actually ordered online, very cheap. It was like one of those penny books, and it's in okay shape. A Roaring in the Wind by Robert Louis Taylor, and I bought it because I'm kind of enjoying the other book that I'm reading by him that I showed before, and or earlier in the video, and so I picked this up. Hopefully it's good too. And last of the paperbacks, this I found for about 50 cents. Open Shadow by Brad Solomon. And he got some good reviews online as like an up-and-coming author, and then just disappeared. This goes back maybe 20, 30 years. So he just kind of disappeared. So The Open Shadow by Brad Solomon, and I actually started to read a little bit at the beginning of it, and I liked it what I was reading. So I went and found online a hardcover copy with dust jacket, very cheap. Someone was selling it for, and so I picked that up. Again, I haven't read the book yet, so I hope that it turns out to actually be good, because now I'm going to have a hardcover and a softcover. But I wanted to get it while I could because of the price. So, because if it is good, then I'll feel bad I didn't buy the hardcover. Okay, few more to go through. A Bride Goes West. This was, almost being given away. I don't remember what the price was, but it was cheap, so I had to get it. I don't actually have this book, so hopefully it's entertaining. I have a handful of books on women in the West, and so I wanted to add that to my collection. A.B. Guthrie, These Thousand Hills. I have this book in a small paperback, so this was like a larger book, and I think it was like $1, so I picked that up. It's in great shape. This I actually purchased from Nebraska Historical Society. It's called From Our Special Correspondent, Dispatches from the 1875 Black Hills Council at Red Cloud Agency, Nebraska. And so it's basically newspaper articles from 1875. Again, dispatches from the 1875 Black Hills Council. And I like those old newspaper stories, articles with the Indian Wars, so I picked that up. Let's see, I have 3 more to go. The Fence Post Chronicles, hardcover. This was marked $20. I already have the book in paper, in softcover, and it was marked $20. I asked the guy. I remember what I said to him. I said, "I won't be insulted if you want to lower the price." I thought I'd make a joke about it. So he did. He lowered it to $15, and I like these books by Kinsella, so I did indeed buy it, as you can see. The Adventurers by Ernest Haycox. I don't remember where I bought this. I don't remember, but it was cheap. I would have only spent like $1 or $2 on it. So, and it's got a dust jacket. It's in really nice shape. Ernest Haycox is a good writer. So I just figured I'd get it added to my collection. The Adventurers. And the last one, Robert Morse, Fire Along the Sky. And Robert Morse is kind of a weird individual. He's kind of like this new agey kind of guy, I think, which I'm not into. But the books, he gets generally good reviews. So I'm hoping that it's good. I have another book by him. So Robert Morse, Fire Along the Sky. I wouldn't have paid. I don't remember what I paid for it, but I wouldn't have paid a lot for it. So I got some really good bargains. I mean, I will spend money, a good deal of money on a book, if it's something that I really want. Then money's kind of no object. But for the most part, I try to search for bargains and find books I hope are good or I know are good, but for some reason they're being sold inexpensively. So why should I spend more? But I do, if I have to, I will put down $50 on the book and not even blink if I really want it. So that's it for what I've read, what I watched, what I bought for now. Again, this is the 5th video, 36 more to go. It's summertime now. I have some family trips planned, including trips to bookstores. And that's about it. So signing out for another month. And by the way, today is July 3rd that I'm doing this video. So see you next month. Bye.